Having an estate plan is important at any age if you accumulated any wealth whatsoever over the years, and one of the most important parts of that plan should be asset protection. What is asset protection, you ask? Well, we have answers for you. Here to explain what that entails and why it's so important are attorneys Rebecca Haynes and Collins Hunsaker, both here with the law firm of Jeffrey Burr, who is specialized in estate planning. It's great having you. Welcome in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So explain, what is asset protection and why should anyone that's watching right now be considering this?
Well, basically, asset protection is, and specifically asset protection trusts, are part of a comprehensive risk management plan, just that you use to protect against future potential liabilities. You know, people ask, why do asset protection? Why not? You buy car insurance to protect against, a future car accident, homeowners insurance if something were to happen to your home, and asset protection trust is just something along those lines that Nevada provides for to utilize.
Absolutely. So there's asset protection and there's a living trust. What are the differences between those two?
The major misconception is kind of in your question. Yeah. One does not provide asset protection from lawsuit, attack, creditor attack of that nature, whereas the living trust is done for probate avoidance and just general estate planning. The major differences between the two are one is revocable and one is irrevocable. The asset protection trust being an irrevocable trust, which makes it a little bit more difficult to attack.
See, when I think of a business. If you have a business, you want to make sure that it's the business that's doing all the business, and it's you that's not necessarily doing the business. That way, heaven forbid, there's a lawsuit with the company, they can't come for your house. This is kind of sort of makes a firewall for your house, right?
And any other asset on top of that. So this kind of trust is, again, part of a comprehensive plan where you kind of just look at everything that you have, business interests, investments, a home, and then you structure everything accordingly so that it can be protected.
Now, do you have any control over your assets with the plan like this or no?
You have considerable control over the assets themselves. Nevada does require a little bit of control to be given to somebody else. But the investment decisions, deciding whether to buy property, sell property that's in the trust, that's typically done by the person that has created the trust themselves. Okay,
gotcha. How about if we wanted to sit down and just figure out what our options are, how would we get the ball rolling on that? Should we come with a bunch of financial documents, everything in a filing cabinet, slam it in front of you and say, help? What do we do?
That is one option. Or you can just call us and we'd be happy to sit down with you and talk with you about whether this kind of planning is right for you and go over all of your options.
How flexible is an asset protection trust?
As flexible as you want it to be, but not too flexible to the point where it could be invaded. That's kind of a way to say that things that you normally would want to be able to change with an irrevocable trust still can be done through an asset protection trust. It just has to be set up correctly. Changing the beneficiaries of the trust, things of that nature, those are things you still can do. Taking the assets out of the trust, those are things you still can do. So it's not completely inflexible.
Oh, gotcha. There are some people they're hearing estate planning and assets, and they're like, I'm just a guy with this. I've got a house. That's about it. This involves everybody. It's not just people that have the Rolls Royce out in their driveway. This is anyone that has any assets to protect whatsoever. Well, give me an example of something we would protect our assets from.
So it would be like if you got into a car accident and somebody got really hurt and then somebody sued you individually for all of their medical expenses, something like that.
You want to stop them from being able to essentially sell your house underneath you. Yeah.
Or a lot of people who are in high-risk professions, such as doctors, contractors, people who are exposed to liability. People have malpractice insurance, they have umbrella policies, but this is just another almost type of insurance to just protect against unforeseen risk.
Absolutely, and you've seen what happens when that isn't there. A lot is up for grabs at that point, isn't it?
That's correct, yeah. I think for most people, when they conceive or they toss around the idea of creating an asset protection trust, it's mostly done in a conservative mind state. They want that peace of mind that they can achieve by having some added protection to their estate rather than being more exposed and relying purely upon what the insurance company is going to do for them.
Absolutely. Well, you want to make sure, especially if whatever hand you're dealt, you don't have all your chips on the table, essentially, is what the asset protection is. Information's right there on your screen if you want to book a consultation. It's great having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, listen, let the law firm of Jeffrey Burr help you get your estate plan in order. They have two locations. One's in Henderson. The other one is Summerlin adjacent on West Charleston. They're right at the border. Call the number on your screen or visit jeffreyburr.com to schedule your free 30-minute trust or will consultation. Jeffrey Burr is a proud sponsor of the Morning Blend.